inconsistencies that I personally would like answers to. Now, some people are uncomfortable with Candace Owens doing her own investigation, acting as a sleuth. But the reason why I tell you guys I watch her podcast regularly is because I know what she has claimed and what she hasn't claimed. With that in mind, let's take a look at what Ben Shapiro had to say about Candace Owens as he was on one of her, live speaking tour events.
I think you and I differ on our angle with regard to, for example, Candace Owens. I think that what Candace Owens is doing right now is evil. It is evil what she is doing right now. Okay, and I say that again.
But what?
Because
like I don't opine on whether it's evil or not, but my position is it's really none of my business. And
why is it? But I have a question. Why is it none of your business? I mean, you comment on these things for a living.
I'm not mother of the internet.
No, but if this were on the left and somebody were accusing Charlie Kirk of his wife having murdered him, I assume that you would be talking about it.
Is that what Candace is accusing Erica of?
Yes.
Of murdering her own husband?
Now, Megyn Kelly, from what I gather, is not watching Candace's show, certainly not as regularly as I have recently, right? So she's confronted with something that I imagine she would find appalling, but it's a lie. Candace Owens has never said anything about Charlie Kirk's wife being involved in assassinating her own husband. She hasn't even alluded to it. In fact, her audience, if you read the comments, a lot of people in her audience are like urging her to look into Erica Kirk. But all I've seen her do is defend Erica Kirk. So that's just something to keep in mind. Like a lie like that, whatever you might feel about Candace Owens, you have to be fair. And a lie like that is pretty freaking gross. And it's especially gross to do it in real time.
Like for real, like Ben, it's crazy because recently, like, there's a lot of people that I've liked on the internet, like for the past decade, the Jordan Petersons and all of that, and a lot of these dudes is falling off. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know if people was getting to them, and like they starting to become like more radical in their takes. Like they try to accuse everybody else of being radical, but the things they say be like, it's like CIA like an orchestrated takedown of certain individuals, and they try to use moral blackmail. Oh, if you don't say this about this person, then you're inherently wrong, and it's just as evil as they are. You might as well kill part of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like these are the kind of things like they kind of trying to push. It's just like Ben Shapiro, he's weak. Like he's a sucker. And they like he probably never had a fight in his life. Like he's not tough. He tried to sound smarter than everybody else, but he's really not. He's just a talking head. That's pretty much at this point. Like this is what they do. See, this is why I say like the worst thing in humanity, our biggest sin, our greatest sin, the one that afflicts us as a society, as individuals, and communities every day, is idolatry. Idolatry is the worst thing for mankind because to put anything in this world that's everything in this world of the flesh. To put anything in this world on a pedestal is dangerous. It's dangerous to put these things on a pedestal because people are flawed. People are susceptible to all of the same emotions as everybody else. It's like you could be a good person, but you also could be afflicted by anger. You could be influenced by external things, and the only way these things really influence you to that point is if you idolize it. See, like I like Trump. I like Trump. I like Candace. I liked Ben Shapiro at one point. I liked Jordan Peterson at one point. Like, see, it's certain people in this world, right? Certain men, right, who looked up to Jordan Peterson. That see Jordan Peterson fall off the cliff the way he has. a lot of young men and older men as well has fallen with him. And that's no fault of Jordan Peterson. See, we cannot fault Jordan Peterson for these things. It's your fault for putting a human being on a pedestal. Because when hardship hits in your life, you don't know that person. I don't know Charlie. I like Charlie too. I don't know him, so I can't fully put my faith in him like I got faith in God because he's not God. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you have to have a balance on this planet. We cannot put it. I like Candace. I love Candace, but she could make a mistake. She could be wrong. I think her intentions are good, but I know she's not God. She's flawed like anybody else. So when people say, "Oh, she got this platform and she's saying this that, and the third," people were listening to her, and it's just like, okay, she's not the problem. You can say whatever you want. If you got out of your idolatrous nature, it doesn't matter what she says because it's just words. You listen, you analyze, and you come to this conclusion of yourself. At least Candace is not doing what the media does, the mainstream media, what they do, and try to morally guilt trip you into believing what they're saying. They don't really give you a choice because all Operation Lockstep. All these media companies are in lockstep. They're saying the same message over and over, the same focus over and over. Like, that is not legit reporting because you're leading the brain of individuals watching to think a certain way. You're conditioning them to think a certain way and not trying to morally blackmail them if they don't think the way that you do. Like, people who call criticize Candace all the time, but she don't say, "Oh, because you're criticizing me, you're a lunatic." And it's like, no, like, people are allowed to criticize Candace Owens. She doesn't push back on that. She doesn't come at people who criticize her and says that they're wrong for doing so. When they're wrong in what they're saying, she will call out specifically what they said that was false. Keep going.
To someone who's supposed to be your friend, in order to get that individual to engage in a public condemnation of someone you don't like, Candace Owens. I thought that was so below the belt and honestly a pretty scummy thing to do. Here's the second part of that exchange.
She's accusing TPUSA insiders and other members of the right wing, including Seth Dillon, of being involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk. Yes.
Okay. Like I said, I don't take in that content, which is an honest statement. I don't have time to watch Candace's show.
I believe you. But the point that I'm making is that when
what I understand
friendship
Candace
should not, in our
doing.
business, I think it's important. Listen, friendship should not trump.
We don't even know each other.
I understand, but even with Tucker, friendship should not trump.
See that right there? That's the moral blackmail. She started talking about Candace, and she said, "I don't even know Candace." They said, "Oh, Tucker Carlson." You see, he's just moving the goalposts to try to more. His objective wasn't to get truth out. His objective was to morally blackmail her, and because her and Candace aren't close like that, it killed his argument. It killed his plan. So he had to switch up in that moment, even with Tucker Carlson. And it's just like, see, this is not an attack on Tucker Carlson. He made that clear in his statement. This is an attack on Megyn Kelly in front of her face.
Manifest requirement to speak out when people do and say things that are both detrimental to conservatism and morally wrong.
But if anybody was to call him out on anything that they feel or think is detrimental to whatever cause he's talking about, he will be slandering them. You will have to denounce them for coming at him, not only for his agenda, because he's a Jew as well, so you can't say shit about him either. Utterly ridiculous. Like, this is straight hypocrisy. This is probably who he's always been. You know, like, I used to like Ben at the beginning. When he first hopped on the scene. And it's really because I just saw clips of him. But, like, actually, like, going back, it's like, yo, he's always been this way. It's just that the topics and things are different during that time, so it was really hard to expose these things. But after the Daily Wire situation, Candace and everything, it started to be a lens closed more and more, and like we see you for who you truly are. You're a pawn, Ben. Who's name? Bitter Ben. What's up, Bitter Ben? That's his name, Bitter Ben. He's jealous right now. Candace and Tucker. He's jealous that he's just a pawn, and they can speak freely, and they can do what they want. Meanwhile, he has to follow this cult that he's a part of, this psychological operation that they put in amongst the people. He has to play along. He's in too deep. He's in too deep.
So I think part of the reason why this moment triggered me in particular is because, and I want everyone who's watching this to know this about me, just in case something comes up in the future where people try to egg me on or encourage me to denounce someone that's close to me or denounce someone I work with. Don't come at me and urge me to condemn people to prove my virtue. You get what I'm saying? Like, I
Or
find that
blackmail.
so utterly disgusting and gross. And it's happened to me in that, people were mad at me over an opinion that I have. And then like a little mob will reach out to John Idarola or whoever I'm associated with, and demand a public condemnation of my opinion and what I had to say. And I just want to be very clear about how I feel about individuals who give into that pressure. It's bitch behavior.
And to me, right, it's crazy because there was a point in time throughout my life, right? I'm 28 now, so 29 in about 2 weeks, right? In my younger days, I used to like TYT, on a political end. I was kind of like a lefty a little bit, but I was always like in the middle, right? I wasn't always into politics, so when I got to see certain things, all I really was exposed to was the propagandist portion of media until independent media started coming out, and then I got people like Black Conservative Perspective and all these things. And shout out the legends in the game. I ain't gonna mention his channel because he's a legend. I ain't gonna throw him out there. If you know, you know. But it's not about, for me, it's not about liking or not liking individuals or left or right, or it's not about that anymore for me. It is now I can find things I agree with and disagree with on both sides. More so the right than the left, because for me, like the left agenda is purely demonic. Me, I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, Father, in the Scriptures. I'm not a religious guy per se, because to me, God is not a religion. He's what is. He is Him. He's not a religion. If all religions tomorrow went through a grave conspiracy and they all fell tomorrow, I would still love God. Can you say the same? If you're a devout Catholic and you woke up tomorrow and found out that the Catholic Church has been making you do pagan practices your entire life, worshiping their gods, using your faith to direct your faith to pagan gods over the past 2,000 years, and you woke up and found that everything that you've been doing has been a lie, would you lose your faith in God in the process? Would you throw the belief in the Lord and His Son? Would you throw it out the window with the religion you worship? And here I said worship because to a lot of people, their religion is God, whether they know it or not. This is why I say, because the religion is of the flesh. You understand what I'm saying? Religion is of the flesh because it's ran by fleshly men. Not a single pastor, preacher, pope is walking around in the spiritual body. He's walking around in the fleshly body. meaning that, like I said, he or she is acceptable to all of the same emotions, all of the same things that everybody else is. They're not excluded. The scriptures say that evil exists in high places. If I'm not mistaken, the church system, no matter what religion it is considered a high place because they provide spiritual guidance, which is very dangerous.
People are allowed to have their own opinions. And if they decide on their own that someone else has said something, a friend of mine, a colleague of mine has engaged in commentary that I disagree with, if they themselves decide on their own to respond to it or comment on it, that's totally fine. That is 100% okay. But giving into a mob that's like, do you condemn? Do you condemn? Do you condemn? You need to condemn. Do you condemn? They're the worst people. I can't stand them.
And it's not organic either. We're talking about a shoe, but it's not organic. Like, it's one thing. It's probably be easier to accept stuff like that if it was organic, and it would probably be easier to take down if it's organic. If it was organic people just like that, then common sense will eventually rule over the mob. People will start to leave the mob once common sense starts to break through. But you notice how the mob never weakens. The mob never weakens because the mob is constantly regenerating. If somebody steps outside of the mob, they enter someone back in the mob. Right? This is a revolving door because there's money and incentive involved. Most things that you see are scripted. These things don't be organic. Behind the scenes, people are putting things in place to make things happen because it's not about the truth. It's about just causing confusion. In the scriptures, the Most High says he is not the author of confusion. So if there's confusion in your reporting, if there's confusion in a certain situation, that's how you know the devil is involved.
And I think even less of the individuals who give in to that pressure, just keeping it real. Now, Megyn Kelly didn't give in to that pressure and later decided to fact check the claims that Ben Shapiro made.
Build a website you love with Wix. For your words, create your brand.
Let's take a look.
He said that Candace has been claiming Erica Kirk was behind the murder of Charlie, which I had not heard, and I was taken aback because that seems like something I would have heard. It's so crazy, and I have since learned it is not true. Candace has not made that claim, and in fact, I've now seen several clips of Candace specifically defending Erica Kirk and saying she would never make a claim like that about Erica, and that she is open-minded to other people at Turning Point. That's obvious. She's been making that point. I had heard that point. But she's specifically been defending Erica Kirk, and she's been saying she does not think that of Erica. And in fact, if you read her comments, she's under pressure to make comments about Erica. And so far, what I've seen, she hasn't.
And that's honorable to do such a thing. Because that's how you know the real from the fake. That's how you know the real from the fake. Because if she was getting paid for her opinions, either she probably would have said nothing at all about it, or she would have doubled down what Ben was saying. But this is how you know people are genuine now. Where people are in it out of moral blackmail, fear of the mob. This is why you gotta believe in God. Because God is the only thing that's constant in this world. And her crowd was organic. See, when Ben was there, Ben said what he said about Candace, the crowd started clapping. So you gotta be aware of these things, right? You gotta be aware of these things because I know how these people work. You know what I'm saying? Even Candace mentioned it as well, that they will pay people like that. They will pay people to go to an event. They will pay buy their tickets, get them front row seats, and they'll be the loudest people clapping, to try to validate what Ben is saying, to be like, oh, the people must agree. And when you think about it, and they're on they went to Megyn's tour. And so they give you the image that the conservative side doesn't align with Candace. That's also mental manipulation. They try to manipulate the audience and viewer on the screen that, look, you need to follow your party because they're turning against Candace, so you need to follow along suit too. Groupthink. That's the point. They try to get you mixed up in groupthink, mob mentality. This is what Ana is talking about. It's a spiritual thing. These things only work if you put human beings on a pedestal. You know what I'm saying? This is the thing. Like, this is what I would say to Candace. You gotta call themselves their fans or her fans. I would advise her to go on her show and be like, look, I get it. Y'all respect me. Y'all appreciate my commentary. Y'all appreciate what's going on, but I don't want any fans. Like, I would try to detract the people who watch me. Like, this is my first video. I may go viral off this. I may not. But yo, don't be my fan. Because, like I said, I'm flawed too. I may get frustrated in a situation. And I may just say something like, with no evidence, I just say my opinion, what I think, and it may inflame a lot of people. This is the thing about idolatry. I don't want you to idolize the words coming out of my mouth. Just like Candace says, don't even believe everything she says. You take what she says, you do your own research, you come to your own conclusions. All she's doing is laying out information, valid information, plausible information. True or not is remain to be seen. But Candace can do it alone. If everybody did their own research and looked on their own, it was like, oh, Candace is saying it makes a lot of sense because I researched this and I was able to find out this. Using her research, I was able to dig further. And this is what I found. Right? I'll be knowing Candace be missing the mark sometimes with certain things, but I know that her intentions are good with it. I know she's not doing things out of a malice point of view. But that doesn't matter. Still do your research. Don't listen to nothing I'm saying. Don't take nothing what I'm saying. Don't take nothing I'm saying and run with it. Don't be a fan of mine. To be a fan is to be a fanatic. And what I'm saying is not just for Candace's audience. I'm saying it for Candace herself. Idolatry can backfire on you. Just like how Ben right now tries to turn your viewers against you. Turn the conservative, the right against you. Turn the viewer against you. And the only way he could turn the viewers against you is if they idolize you in the first place. Because they could whip up a story that's so convincing about you. And they worship you so much that love that they have for you turn to extreme hate. It is a double-edged sword to have fans because they are fanatics. They hang on your every word, whether your intentions are good or not. So I would advise Candace to tell her audience, look, I get it and I appreciate you for being here. And I want you to still be here. But keep in mind, I am human. I'm not God. Do not put me on that pedestal. That's not fair to me. I'm not perfect. You can't expect me to be God. I just take the word fan out. Don't call me, I don't have any fans. You're not my fans. You don't know me. I'm just a guy on YouTube covering things that I care about and hopefully make some up. If not, cool, but I still like covering certain things. That's really my message for the day. You know, with this whole Candace Ben thing, is I'm trying to teach my job on the internet, right? What message I really want to put is people remaining steadfast. That's really why I want to come on. And I see a lot of this, and I'm tired of seeing a lot of this. I'm tired of seeing the idolatry on both sides. Just the worship of human beings. The reason I'm trying to get this word out is because this has always been the destruction of humanity. The destruction of humanity has always been idolatry since the beginning, since Adam and Eve. Eve wasn't in the wrong. Adam was. Why? Because Adam knew better. Eve didn't know no better. Adam was supposed to be overseeing this woman. He's supposed to have been watching this woman. And not just that, even if she do what she do, the fall didn't happen when when Eve disobeyed God. The fall didn't happen then. The fall happened only when Adam took a part two. If Adam looked at Eve and said, "You're bugging. Get that out of my face," you know what the Lord would have did? Scrapped her and sent him a new woman. Scrapped her and sent him a new woman. But you know what? Adam idolized his wife. Once again, we come back to idolatry.